This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
A militant attack in Mali leaves 53 soldiers and a civilian dead. Humanitarian assistance starts reaching Somalia after floods displace hundreds of thousands. And thousands of protesters take to the streets of Hong Kong despite police refusal to authorize a rally. Hello and a warm welcome to Africa Live on CGTN. I'm Lindy Mtongana in Nairobi. Also coming up this half hour. Uganda oil marketers welcome Kenya's reduction of import tariffs by 50%. And South African supporters celebrate the Springboks' third Rugby World Cup title. We start the program in Mali, where at least 53 soldiers and one civilian have been killed in an attack on an army post in the north of the country. It is one of the deadliest strikes against the West African nation's military in recent memory. The authorities first reported the attack in Ndelimane on Friday. A government spokesman says heavily armed men attacked with shell fire and retreated towards Niger. He said the army was undertaking a combing operation on the ground with the support of French troops and UN peacekeepers. The attack follows jihadist raids in late September that underscored the increasing reach and sophistication of armed groups operating in the region. Now, 1995 in Johannesburg, 2007 in Paris, and now in 2019, South Africa powered to victory over England to win their third Rugby World Cup title, 32-12, on Saturday in Japan. The highly anticipated final got underway at the Yokohama International Stadium, with the Springboks putting England on the back foot with an early penalty, which Handré Pollard converted. The game went into half-time with 12-6 on the scoreboard, South Africa ahead thanks to 4 Pollard penalties and Owen Farrell replying for England. The Boks kept up the pressure and were nudged ahead by Pollard before scoring the first try for South Africa in 3 World Cup finals through Makazole Mapimpi on 66 minutes. Recalled winger Cheslin Colby then blasted through to put the icing on the cake as Siya Kolisi became the first black captain of the Springboks to lift the coveted Webb Ellis Trophy.
I honestly can't explain how I was feeling at that time, but to see the joy in my teammates' faces, that was the best thing, I think, for me, because I know how hard it worked and how hard the coaches have worked, and we're really just grateful, you know. But the way we played, we wanted to say thank you to our coach, who's came in and just changed a lot, and on the way that we saw rugby as well. And I'm really grateful we could do this for him and the coaching staff and everybody in the management.
In South Africa, there's a lot of problems, which is pressure, and we started talking about things like that. And rugby shouldn't be something that creates pressure on you. Rugby should be something that creates hope. So we started talking about things that we've got a privilege of giving people hope, not a burden of giving people hope.
In terms of the start of the game, they had a lot of ball in a lot of the right areas and seemed to get a good few calls, and that put us under pressure, and we didn't seem to be able to get a foothold in the game, and they had a lot of momentum that first half. Second half was a bit different, but they were obviously a brilliant side and played brilliantly today, so credit to them.
You know, we're going to be kicking stones now for 4 years, and it's hard to kick stones for 4 years. So we're massively disappointed, but you know, at the same time, I've got great admiration for what the players did. I can't tell you how much respect I've got for them, how hard they've worked, how they've played well in this final. We came short today, but it's not because of lack of effort, mate.
Well, right after South Africa claimed that third Webb Ellis Trophy on Saturday, the streets in the country were filled with fans who were celebrating the team's triumph at the global tournament. CGTN's Julie Shire took to the streets of Johannesburg to give us a feel of the atmosphere there.
Well done to the people South Africa are the rugby champions of the world. The Springboks won their World Cup final against England on Saturday, equaling New Zealand's record of 3 titles. Fans at home are ecstatic. No doubt the celebrations will continue until the Boks return home. But in the meantime, it has united a country. Tell me, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really proud because it has shown us that if we stand together as a country and unite together, we can achieve greatness and have a better future. Yeah.
How are you feeling, sir?
I want to congratulate New Zealand for being third. I want to congratulate England for being second.
And what about South Africa?
And I want to congratulate Sia for bringing our land back. This is our land.
As you can see, this is the mood here in South Africa, and surely it's going to be around the country.
And Monday is a public holiday for all South Africans. Don't go to work.
I declare this a public holiday.
Julie Shire, CGTN, Johannesburg. South Africa.
Images may appear to be identical, but looks can be deceiving. The difference is not always obvious. It has to be discovered. There are always different sides to a story. We put the focus on the details. To see more, to understand better. CGTN. See the difference.
On to Somalia now, where humanitarian assistance has started arriving in some of the flood-hit areas in the south and central regions. CGTN's Abdulaziz Bilo reports from Mogadishu on what authorities are doing to mitigate the crisis.
This is one of 3 boats operated by volunteers to assist victims of deadly floods in the central Somali town of Beledweyne. Hundreds of houses in 3 densely populated neighborhoods of Beledweyne have been submerged by flood waters. Trapped residents have sought safety on rooftops as they await help from local authorities and well-wishers. Deadly floods in the region have displaced more than 250,000 people. Aid agencies warn that the displaced persons, particularly children, mothers and the elderly, are now facing serious hunger, health and protection risks in an area already receiving little to no humanitarian assistance due to increased insecurity and conflict.
Flooding occurred once in half a century, but now we have witnessed it twice in less than 2 years. Addressing this crisis remains a top priority for us as an administration. We have highlighted this issue with all concerned parties. We want cooperation to address recurrent floods in Hiran region, as well as Ethiopia, where it originates from.
Aid has now begun trickling in to assist thousands at this makeshift camp on the outskirts of the city. Estimates indicate that floods have destroyed more than 3/4 of the city and surrounding villages. More than 100,000 children are among those affected.
In order to support about 24,000 people, the 4,000 households, the most needy. We also have 1 helicopter and 2 small planes which are bringing high energy biscuits. So this is food that doesn't need preparation and immediately can support children, mothers and everybody else that will need immediate response.
A nationwide campaign is already underway across the country and on various social media platforms to seek funds to assist flood victims. Farming communities in riverine areas have been the worst affected, raising the prospects of food insecurity in the coming months. Abdulaziz Bilo, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.
To news further afield now, thousands of protesters took to the streets of Hong Kong on Saturday, despite a police refusal to authorize a rally. Police fired tear gas and water cannon during clashes with black-clad protesters, many wearing face masks which have been banned. Confrontations broke out in the shopping district of Causeway Bay as riot police tried to disperse them. Groups of violent protesters blocked roads, built barricades and vandalized some businesses. The windows of the Xinhua news agency office were broken and its lobby was set on fire. The unrest has now lasted for 5 months. Iraqi protesters are gathering in Baghdad's Tahrir Square and near the city's Republic Bridge, preparing for another day of demonstrations. Protests have accelerated dramatically in recent days, drawing huge crowds from across Iraq's sectarian and ethnic divides to reject the political parties in power since 2003. The Iraqi parliament speaker says that MPs will work intensively and continuously to meet the popular demands of the protesters. Let's take a short break now. Here's what's still ahead on the program. Uganda oil marketers welcome Kenya's reduction of import tariffs by 50%. And Senegal prepares to hunt for export opportunities at the China International Import Expo.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
We start in Uganda now, where oil marketing companies have commended the Kenyan government for reducing tariffs by 50% on the oil pipeline that transports refined petroleum products to Western Kenya. They say the move will boost business and make it easier and faster to bring oil to Uganda. Landlocked countries in East Africa like Uganda, Rwanda and South Sudan rely on fuel imports from Kenya and Tanzania. CGTN's Michael Baleke has more.
Kenyan authorities say the value of their petroleum exports dropped 43% year on year. They made $21 million in the first 6 months of 2018, but that fell $12 million during the January to June period this year. And they say their own pipeline tariffs are to blame. They have therefore slashed those tariffs from $60 per 1,000 liters to about $31. The idea is to win back importers from the landlocked countries like Uganda, who abandoned the Kenyan route over high prices and shifted to Tanzania.
The pipeline tariffs for Western Kenya have been very expensive. They have not been competitive compared to what other oil companies like in Dar es Salaam they are charging.
Oil companies say they pay on average $80 to bring oil from Dar es Salaam by road, but pay a $60 tariff when using the pipeline to Western Kenya and another $35 on trucks to buying countries. They believe the move by Kenya is good news for both dealers and consumers in the region.
The supply in this market is going to be a lot. People, OMCs will be going to Western Kenya, they bring products. Also the consumers in this market are going to enjoy, because now once the supply will increase, but the demand is still at the same level. So once supply increases, demand is at the same level, prices will automatically have to come down.
The new tariffs are yet to be announced. The Kenyan government says this is a 3-year revision that could see rates drop further to $29 in 2021. Michael Baleke, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.
China will be hosting the second China International Import Expo from the 5th to the 10th of November. South Africa will be showcasing its citrus producing sector. Here's Chamgono with more.
South Africa is currently the world's second biggest exporter of citrus after Spain. The South African nation controls up to 62% of world citrus exports. Unlike Spain, whose exports have shrunk by 15% in the recent past, South Africa's has registered an impressive 19% growth. ALG Estates is one of the companies involved in growing and exporting citrus. It is situated in Western Cape and controls local exports by a whopping 62%. As the second China International Import Expo gets underway from the 5th of November, the company is looking forward to a windfall in the Chinese market.
I think getting more exposure, naturally we will have more possibilities and opportunities. South Africa is focused on producing good quality fruits, and we believe the Chinese market still value good product. Consumers appreciate good quality fruit as well.
His hopes are grounded in the Chinese people's growing appetite for exotic fruits, with citrus being the most preferred.
The Chinese market in general for South African citrus would be around 10% of the total volume exported, but we feel there's big room for increase in exports to China. There's a lot of new varieties coming in, and there's good eating quality fruit, nice taste profiles, and which I think will be good for the consumers and interesting.
This is the second appearance by South Africa at the Chinese International Import Expo. And for companies such as ALG Estates, it is yet another chance to prove to the world that Africa is the next frontier in world trade. Chomwono, CGTN.
Meanwhile, Senegalese companies are also looking forward to the event. Here's CGTN's Noah Otieno with that story.
As the first African nation to embrace Belt and Road Initiative, Senegal participated in the inaugural expo in China. According to the country's export promotion agency, the outcome has been tremendous.
We had a very positive experience because we went with institutions, companies, public and private sector, the Chamber of Commerce, the employers and also the exhibiting companies. Companies that are in sectors of agribusiness, fishing, craft sector were able to exhibit and exchange ideas with the Chinese private sector, and it has brought us very good results.
The West African nation has a rich peanut production, and exports of this product to China have grown in leaps and bounds, making it one of the biggest foreign exchange earners for the country.
We are expecting to increase our exports, especially for the companies that were already there in China and those who have already participated in the first expo. For our companies, that will be an opportunity to open Chinese market and entering one of the largest markets in the world.
In the last expo, about 4 companies from Senegal participated. However, more companies are expected to showcase their products and services in this year's event. Mohamed Abubakar, CGTN.
3 businesses from Ghana will also be exhibiting at the expo next week, focusing on beauty products and handicrafts. These ventures are keen to attract Chinese buyers. The week-long expo also serves as a platform to showcase Ghana as a preferred investment destination. The Ghanaian Deputy Minister of Trade has lauded China's open-door policy and explained why the Chinese market is so appealing.
There's a large number of Chinese, population who have the purchasing power to go out there and buy. So all you need to do is to get your product accepted by the Chinese population. Trade protectionism is probably one of the dangerous things that could happen to economies of this world, especially the emerging economies. Intending to protect your turf would mean that others also have to protect their turf, and always there's a lose-lose situation instead of a win-win situation. What we need is the open door policy that China has adopted today to, as it were, allow us to also come in there and see if we can have people accepting our products. The Ghana-Chinese relationship is a relationship that we've always cherished, and we hope that it continues like this.
In Madagascar, farmers are seeing some success with their hybrid rice harvests. Sales are up, but it hasn't always been so easy to grow and promote these new varieties. CGTN's Daniela Pearson explains.
Not far from the Madagascan capital of Antananarivo, farmers are preparing the land for a new season of rice planting. But it's not the traditional varieties that they prefer anymore.
After I received training from China, I began planting hybrid rice with my family. Since then, life has improved. We have started to build a house. I found that the yield of hybrid rice is much higher than our traditional seeds.
When Chinese technical experts first introduced the hybrid rice seeds, they had to adapt their planting strategies to suit the local climatic conditions.
Unlike our country, which has spring, summer, autumn and winter, Madagascar is divided into the rainy season and the dry season. You can farm in the rainy season, but not in the dry season because there's no water.
With ditches and waterways, as well as collecting water during the rainy season, it means that farmers can still irrigate their crops when water is scarce. Hybrid rice was first introduced in Madagascar in 2010, and so far, 5 varieties have been approved by the government. But despite bountiful harvests, it's been challenging to get local communities on board.
The rice importers who have been in this business for many years spread a lot of rumors. It's a long process to establish trust. Our company spent several years before the farmers realized the benefits of hybrid rice.
This project is one of the many South-South cooperations by China and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Daniela Pearson, CGTN.
Time for a short break. Your sports news coming up next. South African supporters celebrate the Springboks' 3rd Rugby World Cup title.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Now, taking you back to one of our top stories, after South Africa won the 2019 Rugby World Cup on Saturday with a 32-12 victory against England, fans flocked out of the World Cup final stadium to celebrate the victory. There was plenty of praise for the Springboks and their captain, Siya Kolisi, after gifting South Africa the Webb Ellis Trophy for a 3rd time. While South Africans expressed their pride, England fans were left to admit their side had been second best in the game, while graciously congratulating the champions.
For Siya Kolisi, the boys, amazing work rate. The team came together, pulled together as one, which South Africa needs always. And it's amazing, it's phenomenal. Yeah, really, congratulations to everyone involved.
It's exciting. We have been cheering for the Boks for the last 4 years, and to see all their hard work come together and, like Siya said, give us such hope as a country through this win. It's very exciting for us.
I think everyone will be very excited back home, and we're all very proud, so very happy.
You've got to give it to South Africa. They were intense in defence, they forced the English mistakes and they took advantage of them. In a funny sort of way, it was a bit like watching England against the Kiwis